Hello student, I am Mrs. Padmaja Kamboli. As I discussed in previous video, today we will start the concept from C++ programming. Now, why it is called as C++? Because some of the new concepts are added in C programming. The name is C++. Now, it is also known as C with classes. Now, why it is so? Because in the concept of C programming, mainly they are concentrating on class concept. That's why the second name is also given as C with classes. Now, before starting the concept of object-oriented programming, I will start with the concept of software itself. Now, what do you mean by software? Software is nothing but group of programs or collection of programs. Now, what do you mean by program? Program is nothing but set of instructions which are arranged in proper sequence to achieve our goals. Now, see, according to software evolution, we are considering 4 different layers depending on their growth. Now, all these layers are shown in the figure. Now, first layer is considered as machine level language. From the name only, you come to know that this language is only understandable by machine. It is also called as binary language because it consists of only 2 symbols, 0 and 1. Now, second layer of this software is considered as assembly language. In assembly language, the programs are written using the machine code as compared to machine language. It is easy to write the program in assembly language. The assembler is used to convert the program into in the form of assembly language to machine level language, and then it is understandable by your machine or microprocessor. Now, the third is procedure oriented programming. Again, it's very difficult task to do different programs in assembly language. That's why the third layer of your software is considered as procedure oriented programming. See, this is done with the help of some of the higher level languages. Which are those higher level languages? I can give some example. COBOL, Fortran, C. These are considered as higher level language because all the commands or instructions written in this programming are just like English language. Okay, now we will discuss the structure of your procedure programming. In procedure programming, whenever the program becomes complicated or too complex, at that time it's very difficult to handle a large program to find out the syntax error as well as for find out the it's very difficult to find out the logical error. That's why the too big or too complicated program we are divided into number of parts. Each and every part of program is considered as function, and all these functions are related to main program. Now, while dividing the program, we are always concentrating on tasks. That is, whichever functions made in our procedure oriented programming, these are depends on task. Now, here the main limitation is that our important data items may be used by number of functions in a programming method, in a program. That's why we must have to declare these important data items as a global declaration, and there may be a high risk to corrupt that data, damage that data, or there may be some accidental changes in that particular important data. And to avoid that particular major risk, we go towards the fourth layer of our programming. We are calling it as a object oriented programming. Now, different concept from object oriented programming. Which concept we are going to learn in object oriented programming? First one, from the name, the important word is object. What do you mean by object? Why we have to create the object? The second one is class. The third is the definitions of data abstraction and encapsulation. The fourth point from this object oriented programming, it is inheritance. The next one is polymorphism and dynamic binding and message passing. Now we will start with the first point from our object oriented programming. It is also called as OOP. What do you mean by object? See, objects are nothing but runtime entities in real world system. Now these entities may be considered as living thing or non-living thing. In short, the atom or thing related to that we can collect the data. These are nothing but the objects. The examples of living thing, we can say the student. Related to student, we can collect. Here we are example we are considering as a student. Related to student, here we are collecting the data as name, marks. Then we are writing some procedure related to that particular object, that is accepting the information related to each and every student, displaying the information of the student. These are the basic procedure. You can add how you are calculating the mark, how you are calculating the percentage. So these procedure or these different functions can also be right related to object. Okay. Now then other different object we can consider employee. Related to employer, again we are going to collect the data related to different. Your object may be a tree. You can collect name of tree, the height of tree, the life of that particular tree, whether it is biological or non-biological, botanical. So such type of information you can collect related to different things, and these are considered as object. If you consider the non-living thing, examples of non-living thing as an object, then we can consider a state. Related to state, we can collect the information, population, area, which are the important figures from that state. So one more example, if you consider simple chair as your object, that time also you can collect different data, the color of that chair, cost of that chair, material used in creation of this chair. In short, our object consists of number of data information, and related to that object we are going to write different procedure as per our requirement. So this is about the object. Now one of the important concept from your C++ programming, already I told you the C++ programming is also named as C with classes. That means the class concept basically newly added in your program. So class concept, what do you mean by class? How you are defining the class? See, if you recall some concept from last year, data types in C++ programming, that time we discussed one of the data type as a user defined data type, and that in that user defined data type we are mentioning the class. So class is what? Class is a user defined data type. Why it is called as user defined data type? Because as per your requirement you can create your own data type. That means, see, if you consider the integer data type, you are going to store only integer value. If you consider float, you can store only integer along with decimal places, or number along with decimal places. But if you consider class, then you have a scope of collecting different data items with different data type. Again, array you can collect group of data elements, but there is a restriction that you have to stick up only with one of the data type. But in class you can collect different data elements of different types. Correct? Now suppose if I consider the fruit is one of my class, so in fruit class I can collect the data type as name of fruit, then taste of that particular fruit, then price in dozens or in terms of kg. Okay, so these type of data items I can collect, and I can write quantity. I can consider, I can write different function to accept the information related to that particular fruit. Then I can write one calculate function to calculate the total amount, purchased amount related to that fruit, and one of the display function to display the information. Now from fruit class, the related to fruit class, what will be the possible object? The possible objects are nothing but name of different fruits. Here they are mentioning my objects of fruit class are nothing but mango, apple, orange. Okay, now this is about the class. Now see, in your theory paper there is one of the many times they are asking 1 3 marks question related to class. That is, what is the general declaration syntax of your class? So general declaration syntax of your class, see here they are giving the general declaration syntax of class. How you are declaring the class? For declaration of class, you are using class keyword followed by name of the class. Correct? Now already I told you the class consists of data elements along with the procedure or function used for calculation or doing different process on that particular data. Correct? So see here in class they are considering, see, depending on the how you are accessing, how you are giving the scope for accessing the data elements and member function of related to that particular class, depending on that there are actually 3 different access specifier. Okay, so which are those 3 different access specifier? Private, public. Here they are not mentioned, but when we are learning inheritance concept in detail, we are going towards the third access specifier. I am just telling you the third access specifier is protected. Okay, so these are the 3 access specifier. You have to mention all the data elements and member function related which you want to enclose in your class depending on their access specifier. That means if you want to keep your data and member function hidden from the function which are not a member of class, we are enclosing these data variables and member function in a private access specifier. But if you are giving the scope to utilize all these data elements and member function which is not a member of that class, then we are going to mention this in public access specifier. Now already I told you the third access specifier we are going to see in the concept of inheritance. So This is general declaration syntax of class. But when you are attempting the question in theory paper, you must have to write the third access specifier, that is private, and again under private access specifier you must have to write variable declaration and function declaration. Okay, so once again I am going to repeat how you are declaring general declarations of the syntax of class. The class keyword followed by class name, open the curly brace. Now write down first access specifier as private colon data variable member function. Then second access specifier public colon side is important colon then data variable and member function. The third access specifier is private, again you have to mention colon and then data variable and member function. Close your class with a closed curly brace and it is followed by semicolon. See, many of the students forget to complete your class statement without a semicolon. So this is about general declaration syntax of your class. Now see, we are considering how, see, already I want to mention one more point, member function. I am using that term many times in previous discussion. What do you mean by member function? The function which is written related to that class is considered as it is a member of that class. So instead of using now only function word, if that function is related to one of the class, then I am going to use the term member function. Now here we are considering one example of student class. So how the student class is created? Class, my class name is student. Now in private access specifier I am considering integer roll number and character name. In public access specifier I am considering get data and display function. Okay, now see how to access data variables and member function of that particular class. See, already we know that the data variable which is written in a private section, we can't access those in the function which is not member of that class, but you can access these private variables or function into one of the function which is member of that class. That's why we have to we have to consider how to access the data variable as well as member function. See, for accessing the data variable and member function, we must have to create the object of that particular class, then object name followed by function name or followed by variable name is used for accessing the information or collecting the information from data variable, or if you want to access any function you can access it. That means in short, for accessing data variable and member function of any class, first we must have to declare object. Here they are declaring S as an object, then dot operator, and then they are accessing the function, member function get data. Okay, now see, before this already I told you, you must have to declare an object. Now how to declare an object? Basically, first see, we are creating a class to gather a data and member function related to different objects. So the variables of class are nothing but the object. Now how to declare this variable? This variable you can, or these objects you can declare the class name followed by list of object followed by semicolon. Now why to mention class name first? Because already I told you, we are class is nothing but user defined data type. That means we are creating our own data type whose name is the name given to that particular class. That means class name is nothing but my new data type. And already we know that if I want to declare A, B, C variables as integer variable, how I am declaring? My general syntax is data type followed by list of variable. Here data type is nothing but class name and variables are nothing but objects of that particular class. So for declaration of object, hence after I am following class name followed by list of object, and as each and every statement from C programming ends with semicolon, I am giving semicolon at the end. Now see here one more example. In the same example we are considering in detail how to declare an object and how we are going to access different data variable as well as member function from that particular class. Again we are repeating the same example, that is student is my class. So I am declaring class student, then integer roll number and character name, these are my variable. Now here we are not mentioning private, and I will tell you why once again. Then second access specifier is public. Under public access specifier we are considering get data and put data function. Now integer roll number is one more, integer number is one more my data element and it is declared in a public section. Now my class definition is closes with, I am going to close my class with closed curly brace, and then here there is one more method for declaring the object. After completion of curly brace of that particular class, you can write down the list of object and then you are following with semicolon. Okay, now how you are accessing? See, S is my object, so S dot roll number equal to 1. That means S is my one student. If I want to mention another student, I can write one more, I can declare one more object as a S1. The third student will be S2, like this. So if I want to read the roll number or assign one value to S student, so I can write S dot roll number equal to 2. Okay. Now if I want to access get data function related to a student, I can write S dot get data. Okay. So like this you can access. See here I am considering one more example, that here S and S1, these are the two objects of class. Okay. See, after completion of class definition, if you don't want to declare object in your main program, if you want to declare object, then you can use the second method of declaration of the object, as which is I discussed previously, that is class name followed by list of object. In that case, if you want to declare in a main, you can write student is my class name and S and S1 are my objects. So student S comma S1 followed by semicolon. Like this you can declare in your main program. Now see, in this example, see, this is one of the best example how to write function, member function in a class. See, this is again one of the important question from your theory paper, how you are writing member function in the class, or what are different methods of writing member function in a class. This is 3 marks per question. Many times this question is asked in your board examination. So see how to write member function of class. We will first discuss this program and then we will come to know. See, class is my student class. Again I am declaring roll number, name, these are my data variables. I am writing two functions, one is get data and second one is put data in a public section. Okay. Now see, if you observe neatly, you come to know that they are declaring get data function only. See, void get data. There immediately they are closing the curly brace and giving semicolon. That means here we are declaring this function. Okay. Now if you observe the put data function, you come to know that void put data, there is no any semicolon. Again they are opening the curly brace, they are writing the statement from the function, they are closing it. That means my put data function is written inside the class, whereas get data function is only declared in a class. So where are the commands or the statement from get data function? See, if you observe downside part of your program, you come to know that void student, here colon is there, double colon. It is also called as, it is nothing but our scope resolution operator. One of the colon is not printed clearly, but see the colon is 2 times. It is just like our scope resolution operator, then get data function. Okay. So that means my get data function is only declared in a class and it is written outside the class, whereas put data function is written inside the class itself. Okay. Is that clear? Now that means there are 2 different methods of writing member function related to class. Which are those? One is declaration of function inside the class and declaration of function outside the class. So from this you come to know that if you want to write function inside the class, then you can directly write void put data. You can open the curly brace, you can write the statement from that function and close it. That's it. But if you want to write member function outside the class, then you must have to declare it inside. Declaration is compulsory, and after completion of your class, here your class gets completed after declaration of object SS1 followed by semicolon, the class is gets completed. Okay. Now after completion of class, you are going to write the get data function. Now whenever you are writing the any member function outside the class, you must have to know how to write this. See, one program may have more than one classes. So if you are writing the member function outside the class, if you are writing the member function outside the class, we must have to inform from which class it belongs to. I am always giving the example. If you are sitting in your classroom, that time if one unknown person comes, so he can guess that you are from 12th bifocal division. But if you are standing on college ground or anywhere in a college campus, then unknown person can't guess from which division you are. That means whenever you are writing the member function outside the class, you must have to write the class name from which class your function belongs to. That's why, see, our actual writing of function, the syntax of writing of function is void function name followed by list of parameter. But now we are adding one more term, class name followed by scope resolution operator. It indicates that my get data function is belonging from student class. So how to write member function outside the class? The return type of function followed by class name, then scope resolution operator, then function. Is that clear? So this is about writing member function. There are 2 methods, writing inside the class and writing outside the class. Now, one of the important term from your C++ programming, you must have to know this term concept, how the memory gets allocated if you are declaring different objects related to class. So in short, I am telling you now, whenever you are declaring different objects of class, at that time the memory memory gets allocated for data variables, but all the member functions are written commonly in a memory location. That means, see, related to student class, already we know that here we are declaring two object S and S1, correct? Now related to these two objects, see, the class, my class consists of two different data variable, that is roll number and name. That means this first memory location is utilized for storing the name, that is S dot roll number. The second memory location is used to store the name related to S object. The third memory location is used to store roll number of S1 object. The next one is name of S1 object. But get data and put data, these two procedure or function written commonly for all the objects. Okay, is that clear? Now one more term, they may ask for 1 marks. What do you mean by encapsulation? See, all these concepts may be asked for 1 marks. That is, what do you mean by object, what do you mean by class, what is mean by encapsulation. See, encapsulation is nothing but binding of data variable and member function in a class together, or in one of the user defined data type together, is nothing but encapsulation. See, in our class we are declaring data variable and the function or procedure which is helpful to work on that particular data related to that particular object. So as we are binding or combining declaring together data variable as well as member function, this term is considered as encapsulation. In short, encapsulation is nothing but binding of data variable and member function together. Now next, inheritance. Actually these remaining concept we are going to see in short today, because we have separate point in detail related to inheritance, related to polymorphism. So inheritance is one of the importance of your C++ programming. With this concept is also called as a reusable property. That means if I am declaring one of the class previously while creating a program, and now I want to extend the class, that means I want to add some new variable and new member function in that particular class. That time I can use my previously declared class as it is, and I can, with the extension of this previous class, I can declare one more class which consists of the data variable and member function of its newly declared class as well as previously declared class. That's why inheritance term is considered as reusable property of your C++ programming. Now again, polymorphism. Polymorphism is nothing but more than one form. More than one form, that means one word I can use for many times for different tasks. See, in 11th standard we already learned the concept of function overloading, correct? So function overloading, in that what we are doing, what do you mean by function overloading? The same name is given for more than two functions for different operation, which is written for different operation. This is nothing but function overloading. Okay, So function overloading is one of the type under polymorphism. In this year, we are again going to see some two different new concepts related to polymorphism, that is operator overloading and concept of virtual function. Okay, so dynamic binding, static binding, all these we are going to discuss in detail whenever we clear some basic concept of our OOP. Now see, what are the benefits of OOP? This is again one of the important concept from your question from your HSC board examination. So what are the benefits of our OOP? If we are discussing the benefits of OOP, we are first considering that, see, OOP gives us data hide facility. That means if I am declaring the data variables in private access specifier, then these data variables cannot be accessed by the function which are not a member of that particular class. So data, we are going to hide my data. That means my private data can be utilized by only member function of that particular class. Then it gives me a facility of encapsulation. Encapsulation means what? The binding of data variable and member function together. Okay, now don't write inheritance and polymorphism under the benefits. Then it is a bottom up approach. This is again one of the important benefit you are getting from OOP. Okay, so such different benefits you must have to write for 3 marks. Is that clear? Now these are about some important concept related to object oriented programming language. In next video I will discuss first the concept of function and then the new concept from your OOP, that is constructor and destructor. Today I am going to post the PDF files, that means notes related to this video, as well as some homework for writing different class. So just try to write the class whichever mentioned in your assignment. Okay, so thank you.